Here we go. Who the hell are you, man? Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
We are the knights!
Hold on to your butt.
And now for something completely different.
Hello out there, and welcome to the Knights of Nerd 2 podcast. We're a podcast for all things nerd. I'm your host, Chris. I'm here with...
Counting out down the days to Jetpack Grogu, it's Sam.
I wasn't allowed to join the podcast without the consent of a parent, but then Sean adopted me. It's John.
And my clones, too, are almost perfect without those damn midichlorians. It's Sean.
Well, we got a lot of Mando talk today, I think. John's back from auditing.
Yes,
Donald
I have
Trump.
never audited anything in my life.
So it's going to be a Mando-heavy episode, I believe, tonight.
Yes, it will.
And first, we're gonna there's a couple movies that one of us has seen throughout the past couple weeks.
Mainly the one who hasn't been here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give us a little update. Particularly, there's one on a streaming platform that the three of us, the rest of us, do not subscribe to currently.
Yes, 2 movies about business in the 80s.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I'm talking about Tetris and Air. Air, which currently in theaters, but will be at some future point coming to Amazon, so you should be able to check that out, though. Pretty magnificent on the big screen, I must say. Let's tack Tetris first. Tetris, which is streaming on Apple TV Plus, is about Tetris, to the surprise of no one. But literally the rights behind Tetris, this is a movie that drove me a little nuts. Okay, Chris and I, we enjoyed the business movies. I like men in a room talking, you know.
About business, yeah.
Yeah. But the problem is this is not a movie about, like, coming up with Tetris or the idea or, like, you know, like there's no... It's not like the rock band movies where there's a guy trying to, like, figure out the song and then the thing happens in real life and he makes the song. No, this is a movie that's about a guy who sees Tetris, is like, oh, I got to sell that specifically in Japan. Like, not even a worldwide thing. It's just like, no, I need to sell this to Japan. And it's about Nintendo and Game Boy, and none of it's really interesting because it's like a fight about the rights to something, which is like kind of just boring. Like, it's like, so there's at least like 3 or 4 different people who claim to own the rights, and then like they change it, and then it's like, oh, but does that include Game Boy? Oh no, does this include arcades? I thought this includes PCs. I thought this was video games. Like, what?
There's nothing less interesting in business than copyright law.
Yeah, more or less. And then there's the whole wrinkle of, well, it's owned or was the guy who invented it was a Soviet citizen, and they don't really have property. Mm-hmm. So does the state own it? Does he own it? All that stuff. There's this incredibly contrived, like it makes Argo look like the, what is it, 11:52 to Paris, the like Clint Eastwood movie that used the actual guys. Yeah. Like, it's so ridiculous that there's a scene, there's literally like at least a car chase. There might also be a shootout involving the KGB for fucking Tetris. It's that dumb.
Like, I was vaguely aware of the story where it's like, yeah, it was like kind of crazy about getting the rights out of Russia.
Yeah.
But like, I would never think about making a movie about that.
Yeah, I was just stunned. Like, I'm pretty easygoing on some of this. Like, if it's sort of a compelling thing, I can like shut off my brain. I just couldn't get past it. I was just like, why do I care?
Yeah, because like my understanding was it was just difficult because it was like the tail end of the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
So they were just opening up, and like, yeah, it was this issue of like, wait, who actually owns the property?
Well, that's the thing. It was like one guy sold it to another guy, who sold it to another guy, who sold it to our antagonist, who bought it for, you know, Japan. And it's like, oh, but actually the original guy only bought arcade. Like, it's like, what?
Yeah.
Why do I care? So Tetris kind of drained the life out of me. I'm gonna give it a 5.9.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not very good otherwise. It's just there's this kind of like pro forma mediocrity out there, like especially with streaming stuff. I mean, I like Apple. Like they actually do like a lot of like really good stuff, like pound for pound. I mean, they're incredibly picky and like spend a crap load of money on what they do make, but they usually have like a decent return. This movie is just like, why?
Do you want
Just content.
do you want
I think.
like fan and critic scores on this?
Sure.
Just to because none of us have seen it, so it does sit at an 82% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
88 fan score. Metacritic is closer to you, John. It's a 61.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was really just like, why is this a movie? But I can understand it's not like terrible. It's just like not necessary.
Right.
Doesn't add anything, you know? It's more like that kind of thing.
Does it stick it to the Russians in the end?
It is very pro-capitalist. It's
So,
not
I mean,
not
that's-
anti-Western.
That's probably bumping up the rating a little
Does,
bit there.
does Tetris knock out Ivan Drago? Or
No, but it makes Gorbachev look like really incompetent.
Gorbachev stands up and claps when they get rid of one of the lines.
So
somebody gets a Tetris.
contrasting that to Air, which on the surface sounds like a very similar movie about trying to sign up Michael Jordan to endorse your product.
Without having Michael Jordan in your movie.
What is with this like copyright stuff? This isn't Apple. I'm sorry. I thought
Right.
this was Apple. Yep,
This
never
is
mind.
well, it is Amazon, so you're not super far off. Though they're just kind of giving them money and distribution. This is actually done through Ben Affleck and Matt Damon's new like artist equity thing, where they actually it's interesting. They do want to try to like change the model a little bit and give sort of a broader participation in the profits of the movie. Which actually has like a weird, I didn't even realize this at first, but does sort of have a weird like metatextual part of this movie because it's like, you know, one of the hooks they're selling Michael Jordan to buy it is like, you know, it's just a shoe unless you step into it. You know, it's like, you know, you have to like, or part of it being like him owning a part of the shoe, which I mean, they said he like estimated like $400 million a year or something like that just from
Just
that.
for shoe royalties?
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's insane.
Well, because it was like such a big piece of a small pie that like just got massive.
Yeah.
This movie's actually kind of enjoyable.
Okay.
It's got a really great soundtrack, and like an underrated part of the cinematic experience is like hearing just like some bangers for like an hour and a half. Like I don't know, it's just really cool. Like hearing good music loud. You kind of just forget it, and like I don't know, I feel like movies with good soundtracks, I don't necessarily like am rushing to go see in a theater. You know, not like scores, but just good soundtracks, like good, you know, popular music hits. But
I heard this was a massive budget for this movie.
it's like 90 million. But it looked at
70 to 90.
yeah. I mean, it's good. It's got some good performances. It's literally like what happens when you get like Michael Jordan, aka like Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Jason Bateman, Viola Davis, who's like in it as Michael Jordan's mom.
Which that was Jordan's choice to play
Right.
his mom.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I don't know, just get Viola Davis. Like, okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, Michael Jordan is more or less like absent. Like he's in the movie in the same way Jesus is in Ben-Hur, you know, like always from the back and never talking.
It's like waiting for Godot. It's just
Yeah.
they constantly talk about Jordan, but he never shows up.
Right. Fat J Moore is in it, which I thought was interesting. Yeah, no, it's just really good. It's what the difference is like when you actually have like good talent behind it and like a good framing. Oh, Chris Tucker's in it, and he's like fantastic. Like I love. He's just great whenever he shows up and stuff. Like he's in like this. I think like last time I saw him in anything was like Silver Linings Playbook, where he's in like 4 scenes and just like kills it. So yeah, great to see Chris Tucker back. And like Marlon Wayans is even in it for like a good scene. No, but it's just it's funny because it's like the scale of the story is small. You know, like this could just as easily be like a TV movie, like an HBO TV movie.
Yeah.
But you know, it kind of transcends a bit. It's not like life changing, but it's pretty solid. So I'm gonna say it's like a 7.3 for me.
All right.
Maybe that's even a little mean. Maybe more it's like high sevens, but
So,
the score is the score.
just like I did with the other one, because none of us have seen it. It sits at a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah. Oh, it's like.
Yeah. And a 73% on Metacritic.
So I hit the Metacritic?
You hit the Metacritic.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Got to play that number.
Yeah. So, but it's only, as of now, it's only made like 50-something million in the box office, and it's been
That's
out.
not too bad when like they got Amazon to buy it.
Yeah, I
it's
guess.
it's like an Amazon movie, but they put it in theater. But like they made some money back there. Can I do a small transition on this? Did you guys talk about the whole like revelation that came out that like actually having movies in theaters is like a good business thing?
No, we did not talk about
We
this.
did not.
So there was some entertainment news articles, like a couple that came out, or some like quotes. I forget what the actual framing was, but essentially Hollywood has now decided that, actually having movies in theaters is a good thing instead of just popping them on your streaming service and, you get like a weekend and then it's done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the thing being that one, there's still like a weight or like an importance that of like movies being theatrically released, like people take them a little bit more seriously. Like they seem more worthy of your time,
There's that because it's a dedicated event and you aren't distracted. There's no distractions in a movie theater. You usually. But I think
I think
makes sense.
there's an air of class about it.
Yeah,
Where it's
like
like-
it's this is important enough to do this.
Yeah, where we're gonna take this risk rather than going with the safe
Yeah.
bet of like, let's just throw it up on Netflix and see what happens.
It's building off of that a little bit. It's almost like, we spent some money on something and like we spent money on it regardless. We're gonna risk throwing it in theaters. Why not? Like, what's the harm in
Yeah.
throwing it? We put our product. This is a product that we greenlit. If it goes tits up, then whatever. Who
Right.
cares? We spent the money already, so what's the big deal?
But something like this too, they spent. I don't think they spent a lot. I mean, I haven't been watching like NBA, so maybe they had a lot there. But like I don't think they
advertising.
spent a lot of money in advertising on this. But
Probably
there was
not.
some. Like there definitely was like awareness out there. Though everyone when I told them this movie, they're like, "Oh, what's that?"
Well, I think advertising a lot has to do because you can advertise on Amazon. They'll show movies that are coming out and you can rent and
Right.
stuff. Like they'll show that on the homepage of just when you go into Amazon. A lot of the advertising, like nobody does it on TV anymore. It's the main sport events like Super
Right.
Bowls, the championships, all this other stuff. A lot of it's just like YouTube or
Yeah.
Facebook or
Social
all
media.
that
Or like
social media
Facebook
stuff.
ads, yeah, Twitter
And those
ads,
and
yeah.
those advertising costs are, let's face it, they're not as expensive as screen time on a TV show or screen time at the Super Bowl.
You can probably get a wider net.
definitely.
for less.
I think
Oh,
you
yeah.
could definitely get a wider net for less, and
Yeah.
and you can cater too. So I think I'm guessing you can advertise specifically. So if you're talking this movie Air, you'll probably talk, sports YouTube channels or
Right.
stuff like that.
ESPN, stuff like that.
ESPN.
Right, like you're not going to have it on HGTV.
You're not going to have it
Right,
on my
right.
my gardener YouTube channel
Right.
that I'm subscribed to. Like they're not
Yeah.
going to show Air.
That's next
trailers.
week's podcast is Garden YouTubes. Once
Well,
once we get into
I
growing
have the
season.
weirdest subscription list on
Though
YouTube.
what they do is based on what you watch. The
Oh,
videos
of
you watch.
course.
That's how
Yeah,
you
all
get,
the-
wait, but that's how you get. So if like you don't watch anything sports, they're not going to give you a sports movie.
What makes you think that one of our phones, when we log into Facebook, will have Air trailer or
never.
movie poster when you go
Never.
in?
But like I pay attention to basketball because like the Nuggets are doing well.
Oh, well, that's,
So I
can't
actually
be
do.
good
But like
just
I don't.
about the NBA.
I mean I saw some trailers for Air on YouTube.
But I guess my larger point, though,
Yeah.
like Sean, you're
Yeah.
saying this movie grows $50 million. Let's even say it's a $90 million budget. You gotta make $180 million at the box office. But if you didn't release it all theatrically,
you get nothing.
you get nothing.
Right.
Yeah,
You
it's. I'd say a lot of it is like you just said, monetary. What's the harm in doing it?
Yeah.
What's the harm you're paying? I'm assuming you're paying some distribution.
Yeah, there's some, but
Costs.
I can't imagine it's like
So-
massive.
So
Right.
I feel like what you're saying is like the industry is moving more towards like a hybrid system of like we're gonna do both. We'll release it in theaters and then, either release it on our own streaming or sell it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
which I mean, I guess was sort of what it was before. But yeah, it's not going to just be okay. We're just going to hoard it for Max or Peacock or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think the next step after that, so we're getting into like everything is eventually going to be released in theaters because why not try and make some money?
Yeah.
But I think the next part would be finding the good balance between when things are released in theaters versus when things are released on your streamer. So, for example, if let's say Kimmy was going to be released in theaters, do you want a 3-month period between when it was in theaters and HBO? To me, no, it's not that type of movie. But you get something like, I forget where I heard it, but like you're discussing the gap between, all the Disney, Marvel, Star Wars stuff. All you got to do is wait 6 weeks. And it's on the platform. Like Black Panther Wakanda Forever is already out.
Yeah.
And it's been 2-3 months. And usually that's probably DVD, right? Probably, I think it's like 4 or 5 months is DVD length between when it goes in theaters versus when you can actually get it
streaming
when you can buy it.
Yeah, I know. Like, I mean, what are we? We must be weeks away from Ant-Man at this point.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, probably.
Because, like, I mean, that's like a movie that, I think people weren't exactly rushing to see in theaters.
And then why not wait 6 weeks to
Right.
watch it on streamer?
To go see Kang while he's still Jonathan Majors.
Yeah. Well, could we get into that section of news
Sure,
here?
why
Can we
not?
spin into Jonathan Majors?
It's your podcast just as much as it's mine.
So we had a little bit of pre-episode discussion on this, but I wanted to hold off. But like, I didn't think anything would happen this week. This past 8 days since we talked about it. But like,
well, no, it's
I saw,
it's been 2 weeks.
It's been 2 weeks or a week.
2 weeks.
All right, so it's been 2 weeks, and it's like since the last week, he's lost his PR team, he's lost his agent. I mean, like, the ship's taking on water, and people are trying to get in those dinghies.
He had like that army, like recruiting
the army
video.
recruiting video. They've
that's
taken
been
it down.
scrapped.
He's been taken off a few projects.
Yep.
One was executive producer. He was supposed to be executive producer. Like, people are jumping ship on this guy.
And there's
Except
more
there's
people
one-
coming forward too about his behavior as well.
Yep,
And
yep.
it's not looking good for
And-
Marvel.
Has Marvel officially parted ways with
No.
him?
They have
That's
not
the
made
one looming.
They have not made a statement
That's
yet.
the
That's
one
a
looming
big-
thing.
Yeah.
So, and the thing is, he has a lawyer who's saying that there's, video evidence or text evidence that will show that he's not.
No, did you see
he's
the
not
text
doing
evidence? They actually released the text evidence.
I don't.
So they released the text evidence of from the woman in question that's supposed to exonerate him and like he's innocent. But if you read the text, it's obviously coming from a victim of like domestic violence.
Yeah. So, look.
It's like so obvious. It's like everybody's like, how is this supposed to clear him?
He's
This is so bad.
You'd think that this stuff would have been released before he got indicted, in order to show like, hey, police, this is what's going on. There's no case here, but even that's the time to have done it.
Yeah.
And clearly they didn't have enough, and he got indicted, and now he's facing a bunch of charges. So, look, I don't know, man. It's like we said a couple weeks ago when we were discussing this. Marvel dodged a lot, and they avoided this kind of
For
bad
so
limelight
long.
for a long time.
But like I said, though, I'll reiterate it. Everybody that they've basically hired up until now have pretty much been established actors. Jonathan Majors is like other than like minor characters here or there.
I don't know. Tom
Holland.
Tom
yeah.
Holland, Tom Holland was like a big one, but that was Sony. I don't count Sony.
But still, Tom Holland is.
Yeah, but so
I mean,
okay, so that's one.
I'll give you this, Sean. It's like they're definitely actors,
Yeah,
but they don't usually go for the big actors.
Yeah, I mean, like Robert Downey Jr. is
Yeah.
probably the biggest.
Yeah.
Right? I
Yeah,
mean,
like Chris Evans was established, but he wasn't.
Hemsworth was and
Hemsworth
Hiddleston
was the same thing.
right? Yeah,
Hemsworth really hadn't been
No,
much.
those
Yeah.
two were like kind of just like nothing, but
No, but
grew.
Hiddleston he had some stuff under his belt at that point, as did Benedict Cumberbatch there.
Oh no, I mean he was huge.
Yeah.
He had a bunch of stuff. Like
No,
it's-
but he wasn't like when they hired him as Doctor Strange. It's not like people were like Benedict who? Like he was a household name
people
at that
and
point.
he was Sherlock before then. So
right.
like
Oh, he's been a
you know,
lot.
it's we can get into it, but regardless, I think it's just impressive that it's been this long. It's been
Yeah.
20 something movies, high 20s, right?
I thought it was like 30s
Or low
or
30s.
28.
I don't know, somewhere around 30 movies from 2007. You know, they've made it this far without really having a true controversy with their actors, and,
Right.
and this is this is the first one. I mean, WBC's been in this boat for a few months now, but
Yeah, WB's that meme of first time.
right. But I'm interested with what Marvel's going to do about this one here. It's not. I don't think it's. Do you think it's too late for them to change Kang?
Yes.
You think it's too late?
I think
No. I'm sorry. Not change Kang. Let me rephrase this.
recast.
Recast
Yeah.
Kang.
So this is how I see what the situation is. I just feel like Disney is gonna sit on this until it's underway, and I don't think they're gonna make this decision for a bit.
Well, I think they have this problem of he's filmed a lot of stuff.
Right, like he's season 2 of Loki.
Yeah, like what
he's
are they
a
going to do?
major character in
Reshoot
that,
the whole season
Right?
of Loki?
right?
without
Like
him, or-
that, and then they have the Kang
Worked
Dynasty.
out so
coming up.
well with the Winter Soldier.
I know.
I mean, not Winter Soldier, the
The
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I think there's just so much that he's already done for Marvel that hasn't been released.
I think that's why
It's-
you're seeing them delay on this.
Yeah.
is they're
Yeah.
just trying to figure. Okay, can we reshoot
Right.
this?
Yeah. Well,
'Cause
just
I-
do you think
figure
it's that, or
I
do you
everything.
think
doubt
they're
they're going to
playing-
keep him around. It's
No,
just when do we cut
I
ties?
feel like if this was, we'll say Loki, like season 1 of Loki just ended, and then all this came out. Oh, they're recasting him immediately. They're dropping him immediately.
Oh yeah.
But the problem is that he's just been in so much and still stuff that hasn't been released. Like,
Yeah.
how do you drop him now and then still release
you know
that
what though?
stuff?
If it was just a money thing, like if it's just okay, we can reshoot this. You know, it's not going to delay any movies. I think they would. I think the fact that it's like you actually are going to have to rearrange some of these movies and like try to find a new way around it. Like that, if it's going to delay an actual movie, that's actually going to hurt. You know?
Financial hit. It's a big financial hit.
Yeah, and
So remember,
know.
like, Loki season 2 is supposed to come out in
This
like
year.
a couple months.
Mm.
Like, that's not enough time to reshoot that whole season.
Oh,
They'd have to push that back.
Right. And like, because it's not like an isolated show and it's supposed to tie in with, the greater whatever that's going on. I mean, it's so hard. They're stuck in a shitty spot.
So let's play scenarios here, and I don't like doing this, but why not? So say he gets convicted of assault and
He's found guilty.
What he's
Just-
found? Let's
he's
just
found
say
guilty.
he's found guilty of
Of
what
whatever,
what
he's
this
just
happened.
found guilty.
Now, and let's say if you're Feige, what do you do?
oh, he's gone.
Yeah,
If he's,
100%
he's
gone.
guilty.
Oh, yeah.
His like career is like
Yeah.
done.
He's
done.
gone.
Yeah.
Now, what do you do with the Loki season 2? And
Well, luckily, that would happen after Loki season 2. Him being found
Oh
guilty.
yeah, the trial's not.
They caught a real break
Well-
with that.
well, I was gonna say, like, if you're if you're Disney,
So-
what do? Do you wait until this trial's over to release Loki 2? Or do
I
you try
think-
and
I
save
think
not
going-
save face, but try and like get it out of the way?
Going into the
I
trial,
wouldn't put it past them to just release it as is
and get
and just be like just like no advertising whatsoever. Just kind of put it out there and just like
but I'm asking
count
when.
your losses.
I'm asking when.
when do they?
So I think
When do they
you could look at it as two
If
ways.
that is their choice to just release it as is, you keep the same timetable.
which is
Yeah.
before or after trial.
They're
It
not
would
going
be
to have a
before.
trial. And,
Yeah.
The trial's
2
not for
months.
like a year, so
Yeah.
Okay. right.
Well, so more or less, we're talking: is it going to affect like the Kang dynasty?
Well, that would be a minute. That's where I was going to go next.
That's the one that would be the next big thing with Jonathan Majors.
It's not impossible to recast Kang.
No, I agree.
No, it's not. It's just the problem is he's in so much.
Right.
Like
Now,
that's going to be released.
do you think it's a possibility that they would just walk away from the storyline?
No,
Okay.
too much
they've
has
invested
been,
so much.
Yeah,
in
too much
this.
has been invested in it.
Yeah, this is the problem too. When you
have-
announce 20 movies ahead of
Right.
time,
Yeah.
you're gonna look like the biggest asshole
plus-
if you're like,
where
well,
was-
it's not
Plus
really
the
working.
fact that you got a few factors too on why they wouldn't walk away. One factor is how poorly the last phase has been received by fans and critics. It just like you're trying to move on from that.
You don't think that would be a reason?
No,
for
the other reason would be
well,
they
that would be the
already-
reason to do it. 'Cause,
They already
like, it's
delayed everything
so
because of the
poorly-
pandemic. So like the last phase was stretched out because of that pandemic, and then on top of it being like so poorly, because the last phase doesn't really affect too much of this phase with Kang. It was just that phase was all about dealing with life after Thanos, and like losing like Tony Stark.
building your repertoire a little bit. of
Everybody,
characters.
everybody basically gets a brand new origin story.
Well, so I'm looking at this kind of more in a numbers game here. Kang was in Loki season 1.
Yep.
He was in Quantumania.
Yep.
Was he in? He wasn't in Shang-Chi, right? He
No.
wasn't
No, he was
in-
just in those two.
He wasn't
Yeah,
in.
it's
He
just
was
those
just in
two.
two.
Wasn't in
So
Doctor Strange,
theoretically, I could see
they
you
can walk
walking
away.
away from
Yeah.
Kang and still being okay. I think
As the big
I
bad.
think you need to
I don't-
redo your major arc. Obviously,
The problem is that they work these things out so many years in advance.
Right.
yeah,
that,
story's
like,
already written for
you
most
know,
of
they
them.
have like 12 movies in the works all about this.
But don't you think though, in some ways, it's a little lucky because do you guys already get the sense that like you're a little multiversed out?
I'm very, very close to that.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Like at the very least, it's like it's definitely not a fresh new idea.
I've so far it's in the Marvel universe the only multiversey thing that I've enjoyed is Loki.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so what falls into that umbrella?
And Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, I think, would be the
Spider-Man,
other one.
Yeah, can't forget Spider-Man. And we get a Spider-Verse movie in like a month.
Yeah, because even Doctor Strange, I'm like, eh.
Oh, good.
Yeah, Doctor Strange was just like
It was
well, this is a
interesting,
movie
but
too.
it was interesting, but yeah.
like there was interesting stuff in there, but
That
like,
went
it was-
nowhere.
Yeah, it felt like it just did not go anywhere.
It didn't feel like it progressed anything. But
all,
like
all I'm
that's-
saying is it's interesting that they would have an opportunity to walk away before possibly going down something that people are just like, in 4 years are going to be like just
Well,
done with.
Think about it like after, we'll say after Thor 2. And they were like, yeah, never mind. We're not doing Thanos anymore.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be weird because there were like subtleties that it was going to lead up to that. And then, like, all of a sudden they were like, yeah, no, never mind.
Yeah, but it's
So-
not. It's
Which
not
like
like
that
the
is
movies.
also a good like point because that was like a low point for them.
Right.
Can I-
Yeah, but it's not like they had the other movies before Dark World were bangers.
Can
Like,
I
it wasn't they
compare
had-
this?
Well, Marvel's making money.
No,
regardless.
I know, but like like all Marvel fans are in agreement that the
Yeah.
previous like Shang-Chi, Eternals, like that stuff was not.
No, Shang-Chi was,
Shang-Chi was
really good.
Shang-Chi was good. Fine,
Despite
fine.
Eternals.
Eternals,
Yeah,
and then it
Eternals,
was Quantumania was not as good as people
No.
thought.
Yeah, okay.
And it's not like they're huge
No,
hits in
no,
a
I
row
know.
here.
So one point that just I kind of have a sense of or feeling towards, did you guys see the trailer for the Marvels, which I believe came out
Yes.
this week?
Yes.
Right.
We talked about it last week.
Oh, we did. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I give a take on that?
Go ahead.
Sure.
We're kind of just in space now, huh? Like we're kind of in space or space adjacent things, just shooting laser beams at each other.
Well, that's
and like
that would be Captain Marvel, though.
Would it though? Because I know that that's literally Captain Marvel, but we're gonna have that. We're gonna have Guardians. We're gonna have
Right.
Quantumania.
Quantumania wasn't space,
It might as well have been.
but it
It might as well have been,
Okay.
Sean. You know that.
Like, you know, I mean, if not space, it's not. It doesn't exist like in the world we occupy remotely. You know,
Although we're getting a little of that with a lot of that in Secret War or Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion. Yeah,
okay, yeah, but that's also a show about aliens.
right.
You know, and I gotta feel like there's an element of space.
We're getting spacey. You're right.
Yeah, I mean,
which
You're not wrong.
Guardians was always space. Captain Marvel is always space. It's just those two movies are kind of coming out close to each other.
yeah, I don't know. It's just
Eternals.
It's not. Yeah, like there's just been a trend towards it, and I don't think that's actually been to the benefit of, you know, I mean, like a Thor too. Like that was the space
Oh yeah,
movie.
Thor is technically space.
You know, I don't know. Like I don't think those have been the better movies. Like really, except for Guardians, the first one. Like they've all. They're not Marvel at their best.
Okay.
You know, and that's.
Yeah,
I could be saying
I
something.
do say
I could be
this,
saying something.
where it's like the more grounded the movies in Marvel has been, usually the better.
Yeah.
Like the only real exception I could think of is Falcon and the Winter Soldier,
Which that was just
which that was grounded, and there was stuff in there that I was like, I wish you explored more, but like it was just bad.
Yeah.
it was a hack job.
That I mean, it was a literal hack job because they had to hack
Yeah,
out the
that's what I mean.
virus.
Yeah, because of COVID.
Yeah.
Speaking of space news,
Yeah, space.
Space.
yeah. So did you see that the SpaceX shuttle exploded?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
right
I mean,
after
Yeah.
takeoff.
in fairness to SpaceX, that's kind of their MO.
Yeah.
They just launch rockets just to watch them blow up sometimes.
This
But-
was not that though. This was
But like at the same time, it's like
this
it's
had
not
purpose.
a great look where it's like your biggest rocket ever built immediately blows up.
No, but
Yeah.
did you see the science? There was like a little mini documentary about, you know, why SpaceX is doing this. So SpaceX launched a rocket like they always do pretty much once a month at this point. And
This isn't like the Falcon 7 where they're just launching a
yeah,
satellite.
no,
this is
this is the
the Starship. This is their thing they've been working on for like 12 years.
yeah, the thing to take them to the other planets. And they had a little documentary with SpaceX
Interplanetary.
that
Yeah.
they had a whole bunch of science surrounding that. It's actually cheaper and more efficient and possible to launch your ship up to a planet, land the ship on the planet, and have the ability to take back off and come back. So there's a whole bunch of science
Versus-
behind that versus flying a ship, crashing, building a ship again to take back off. So if you were to go to Mars, you'd crash in Mars, you'd land, typical way with all your supplies and stuff, build the ship and then come back up.
So you're not wrong. It's just this spaceship is the equivalent of me in my backyard building the biggest, most impressive rocket car I could possibly build, and then telling you I'm going to drive it to London, and you be like, "But there's an ocean in the way. Why'd you build a rocket car?" Because it'll take you about 6 months, at least,
Right.
to get to Mars. After 6 months in 0G, astronauts can't walk. They have severe heart problems.
Because their bodies are
Their
just-
bone density is terrible.
And
This thing has no capability of generating any kind of artificial gravity. And that
It doesn't have thrust gravity?
That rotating kind of thing.
No. Thrust gravity. Does it have that?
What, you're going to be accelerating the entire time?
No. You centrifugal.
The centrifugal?
Yeah.
One, it is far too small.
It's not
because if
built,
you do
yeah.
that small,
Oh yeah, you're gonna be
your inner ear
Yeah.
is going to be different from your feet, and you're just going to like collapse. So it needs to be big, And oh yeah, we've never tested that out before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't entirely know how that would entirely work.
Then they did it in movies. It's fine.
God, you guys would fucking love For All Mankind, and none of you have Apple.
And then
I've watched some of it.
two
I
of
watched
you.
some of it.
and,
I told you I watched some of
Yeah.
it. They didn't go to Mars at that point. But
and
Yeah.
I haven't even mentioned the fact that like Elon Musk is in this weird world where he doesn't think space radiation is a thing. Because like it is.
well, I think that's what they want to figure. Like they want to work on all that stuff. But I think.
But that's
like,
not
this
part of
is
the plan
also-
right now. Like their plan is build this rocket, go to Mars.
Well, yeah,
And they're gonna have to change this rocket. And oh yeah, that like they haven't actually designed the inside of the rocket, which is usually where you start. But yeah, anyways. And this thing is gonna be what we use to land on Mars, which land on the moon, which NASA doesn't seem like it has a lot of faith in, since it just recently announced, oh yeah, we're gonna start another project to develop some kind of lander for later missions.
Oh, I thought they were going to use the Falcon on that.
They were using.
No, this is Starship.
Oh.
This is Starship.
Yeah, I mean the Falcon's really good, but it was always meant to be the sort of intermediary for them, and they just didn't expect the Falcon to be this good, which like raises the question of like, then why did you build this thing? You built this really good rocket.
Right.
And now-
well, yeah, but it's to do a different kind of job, though, right?
Yeah, I think since the Falcon, they probably realized that there's maybe a little bit more efficiencies that they could use.
I mean, you could build a better Falcon. You could build an entirely reusable Falcon. Like the reusable part is the best idea in this.
And
Obviously, but like
yeah.
it's like I said, it's like building a really impressive rocket car and then saying you're going to drive to London. It's
Well-
like there's no way this is going like to other planets.
Look, it's a process. One thing you have to worry about is how do you get back off the planet, and then it seems like they're just trying to tackle that first, and then deal with.
But that's the easy
G-force.
part.
Yeah, it's like
He's kind of like Mr. Burns in the Casino episode, where he's like getting the spruce.
Well,
get
I
it.
think maybe
That's
another.
kind of what it is.
I think
sir,
you know,
that's just
I don't
about
think it's
I
also.
said get in.
You could also like land the rocket, deploy some rovers and stuff. Actually, take samples home.
But like that's always been the plan, is sort of to land something you could take off in.
Well, point to me where anything is even close to that right now.
Yeah, because like
All they're
NASA's
doing
trying to
is-
figure out
there's
how you
hurdles,
get
yeah.
astronauts there alive.
I just think you're just dicking around until you have some kind of fusion thing going on. You know?
Oh, what the nuclear rocket that NASA just recently was like, okay, maybe it's not that crazy. Where
Yeah,
you
well,
can
no.
get to Mars in 42 days because you're just detonating
Wait,
nuclear bombs behind you.
Oh,
the
the
entire
nuclear bomb parasail thing.
Yeah.
Oh no, I mean like it's a fusion engine.
Did you guys know that the Air Force had an actual design involved in that to build a space battleship?
Oh, nice.
Can they drift it?
What was it? Did they give it a class name?
I
Is
don't
Ludacris the test
remember.
pilot?
So one thing I really did not like about the theatrical experience for Air, it forced me to watch the Fast and the Furious trailer, which I had sworn off of.
Oh, really?
Wait,
Yeah.
the first one or the one
No,
that just
the more
recently
recent
came out?
one.
Don't know. I don't watch.
okay.
I haven't been watching them.
You want to go in blind?
Yeah, kind of. I can now, but
Wait, hold on. You haven't seen any of the Fast and Furious?
no,
Fast
the
10.
trailers.
The
Fast
trailer.
10. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
Yeah, he's going in blind to that.
Well, not anymore.
No,
Yeah,
trying
no.
to.
Just all those scenes of like them
Movie.
like putting Jason Momoa in like the fifth one. It's just like, all right.
All right. Can I get your thoughts on one movie too?
Sure.
We didn't talk about it because you guys
Yeah.
haven't seen it. Boston Strangler
Oh,
Yes.
that.
on Hulu.
A fine movie, I thought, but just made me want to watch other movies that were better,
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that.
like Zodiac.
Spotlight,
Yeah.
Night Stalker series on Netflix.
Yeah,
Which
Nightcrawler.
I'm sorry, Nightcrawler series on Netflix.
Oh no! I mean, no. I think it's Night Stalker. I want to watch Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal.
with Jake Gyllenhaal, yeah.
just because it's great.
Yeah, there are better crime thriller.
Yeah, like journal crime
murder,
filler, like, you know, and it's just like wanted to watch something else. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm almost immediately turned off too with the inspired by true events. You know,
Right.
It's not.
Although this actually has an interesting ending because it's so ambiguous in real life.
Yeah, I
it's-
mean, it's not necessarily accurate in that regard, but the ambiguity about the who actually did it, like
Right. Or if it was
provides that.
actually the same person, or if it
Yeah,
was,
or if it was literally just like the colliding of three separate people who
Right.
used each other or used the Boston Strangler.
yeah, to get a lot of money and sell their story, quote unquote.
Yeah, or commit a murder using the
Right.
the
Blame it on him.
not the styles of the other, but the
Just
MO
like
of the
that
other.
Kevin Costner movie. You ever see that is it Mr. Brooks where he plays a
Yeah,
serial
Mr.
killer?
Brooks. Yeah, I saw
And like
part
his
of it. I
daughter
didn't watch
kills
the whole thing.
somebody, so he has to like set up so he has to like kill someone else with a hatchet to make you think it's a serial killer and not his daughter.
Yeah, it's
Real movie, Sam.
I mean, yeah, Mr. Brooks.
You say Mr. Brooks, and like my head is like, yes, that was a movie.
Like
I
he
don't
kills
remember.
Dane Cook, so like how bad could it be?
But yeah, Boston Strangler. I think it was okay. It was fine.
Yeah, it's not a bad watch. It's a good Friday night. Fuck it.
Yeah, it was pretty
know?
quick too. It wasn't too long.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like good performances. Like I really couldn't complain as much too about
Right?
it, you know?
It's just one of those. It's just one of those things where you know the story of the Boston Strangler, or you know whoever,
Yeah.
but like you know it, and then you kind of appreciate the back end, but then you realize like it's never solved, so it's
Right.
kind of.
But did you know that? Like I was aware of a Boston Strangler, and I know
I was aware that there was a few.
Definitely Bailey like represented one of the guys in it or something.
Yeah,
But-
I knew there was a few kind of like suspects. I didn't know that the Boston police kind of like mucked it up, which I don't know. Is that true? Like, I don't necessarily know if that's.
Yeah,
This is
don't
where
know.
I think that inspired by true events is really kind of throwing me off here. You know, because Zodiac was based on the true story.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's based on the guy's
Yeah.
book,
Yeah.
who's the main guy.
Yeah, who's the
Well,
is the
and,
like
and
journal
the, like,
Robert Grace,
the
man.
murder scenes are like, you know, shot for shot, like what actually happened.
Yeah, like
and you,
what it's...
and you get that, and you know, there are
Well, 'cause
there are
did you-
better ones that are actually based on truth, not inspired, but based on
Yeah.
true story, like Spotlight, true story. You know, Zodiac, true story. You know, the Night Stalker, true story. They all have like, well, Zodiac didn't really have a conclusion, obviously, but you know, like
Yeah,
all of them
but
had.
the conclusion is actually better. That you know, it's about obsession and finding answers and
Yeah.
accepting that it's just not going to happen.
yeah, exactly.
I'm just gonna, oh man, I'm gonna go watch Zodiac.
Do you see now? I want to watch Zodiac.
See,
I
there
know,
you go.
right?
I want to watch Zodiac and Spotlight now.
It's
You guys
such a
keep talking about
good
it.
movie.
Right. Watch
it's a-
watch Night Stalker on Netflix. It's actually really well done. I think it's really well done.
Not to just throw a wrench in this. Have you guys seen Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal?
A long time ago.
Oh, that's a good one. It's not really the same kind of movie though. It's a sort of has the journalism base, but
Yeah. But did you want to throw a number out for Boston Strangler?
sure.
I was thinking.
7.1.
Yeah, I was throwing a 7 out there.
Yeah.
But that's on Hulu. If
Yeah.
anybody wants to, you know,
It's
dabble
not a
in
bad
that one.
watch. It's it's like a true crime thing. Like they're kind of all the same, you know.
Yeah,
but
it's
you
just
still watch 'em.
the level of drop at the end. It's just whether or not.
Yeah, I think that's probably the weakest part is that there's really no good conclusion. At least that's the good part about Zodiac is it's like, oh, it's actually about this. It's not really about like the murders per se. I mean, yeah, it is, but like it's also there's not really much under the surface of the Boston Strangler, or at least the movie.
Yeah, gotcha.
So.
Gotcha. All right.
A lot of that guys. I loved how many that guys there were.
All right. We got 15 minutes. Mando.
Start the clock.
Yeah, right. So rather one
Put
of
15 parsecs on the clock.
yeah, it's not the longest episode finale of the season.
No,
but
pretty short.
so we finally got a conclusion to the Mando season 3 finale.
Yeah. You got a lot of conclusions to a lot of things.
We did.
It very much felt like, wait, are they stopping the show?
Yeah, honestly, it felt like this was a series finale.
Yeah.
I wanted to throw that out there, guys. Like it seemed like there was a conclusion to the series. Like they could write this off and not continue it,
Right, but they won't.
or they can continue on. But
You know what this I will probably what this is. This is the end of the pitch.
Okay.
Like the pitch Favreau gave
Yeah.
Disney was up to this point.
Okay, I can see that.
Whereas like, okay, this is going to be the first arc,
Yeah.
and if we want, I can make more after this.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I agree with that. That makes a lot of sense because, because these 3 seasons have all led to this point of like what's about to happen going forward now, without like spoiling anything. Really getting into it.
oh, there will be spoilers for this.
Oh yeah,
episode.
no, we're definitely spoiling this.
How do I want to put this? What is your? I guess what is kind of like the biggest thing you liked about this last kind of group of episodes here? Like, what's the biggest outcome that you liked the most?
Honestly, just the rise from the ashes for Mandalore. Like it's
that was
awesome.
my answer too.
Yeah, it's just the
rebirth
relight
of
the
Mandalore.
forge at the end, and like it's awesome. Yeah, no, like
What about you guys?
For me, it was the very end when Mando is like, I'll go hunt down Imperial remnants for you, and like that in my brain flashed up that idea that I don't think it was Gilroy. It was one of the writers of Rogue One. Apparently, had pitched Disney on this idea of basically making Munich, but in Star Wars, where they like hunt down like
Remnants of the Empire?
Imperial war criminals, and like this Mossad like organization, and bring them to justice. And I'm like, that sounds amazing. So this like kind of vaguely sounds like what he's about to do. So I'm like, all right, that's just a step closer. So I'm okay with that. But like, yeah, that makes me like, okay,
It's like,
looking forward to that.
do you remember did you guys ever watch the movie Sahara?
no.
No,
Yeah.
with Matthew McConaughey. Oh, I can't
and,
use that reference.
Steve
Never.
Zahn?
Yeah, never mind that.
No,
Can't
I
use that
never
reference.
saw it.
John, big takeaway, best favorite takeaway.
I think I'm going to watch Munich after I watch Zodiac.
Speaking of movies with ambiguous endings,
Yeah. And this is about actual obsession and,
Yeah.
never getting to the end of it. That's a good double feature. All right. Mando.
Talk about a depressing evening.
Yeah. Didn't see nothing yet. Okay. Just did not feel the end. The last 3 episodes.
No?
It got. Yeah, it's just not the show I'm really that interested in. I just don't care so much about Bo-Katan, a person whose character I don't even really know. There's really no outside of Mando. There's no real. I don't even want to say character development as much as just understanding of who people are. The big guy with the chain gun gets this whole send off. That Mando. What's his name?
No one knows.
Okay.
Vizsla.
John Favreau, yeah.
It's a Vizsla.
Yeah, but no one actually knows his name.
Well,
Yeah.
but we know who he
Yeah,
is.
no,
we
yeah, we
me
know
and
who he
Sean
is.
knew who he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's oh, that guy.
yeah.
You're right. Who's guy I didn't even know his name. It's he gets us. I'm okay.
It's a cool scene, and I love it because we're attached to him, as in we're hey, him.
I remember that guy.
And he's followed Mando through all 3 seasons, and then he dies, and you're oh, that sucks. for that guy. Like,
I know,
yeah.
but it's given with like this gravitas that like I'm supposed to care and I don't,
Right.
and it's just it's tough. I like the finale, so I watched like 3.5 episodes in one shot just because I had fallen behind.
Yeah.
With just being busy and like I don't know. It for me, it's not a. You kind of do have to pay attention a little bit. Like it's not a light watch,
Yeah.
even though it sort of feels that way at times. I thought a lot of the dialogue in like the 2 preceding episodes are like very weak. Like I'm just gonna say the Lizzo episode. Not that like honestly of like the like 3 or 4 worst things in it, I don't think any of them were her. Though I think her acting is like not great, but I think the dialogue she's given is like really bad. Like it's like comical, like Lucas in the prequels bad. And I would just like to try to make the Star Wars a little bit better than that, but okay. I don't know. It's a lot of this I just felt like no real connection to. I like Mando and I like his little friend, his little green friend. And, you know, we get a little bit of that, but he's kind of pushed aside. You know, like it's not really his story at the end of this season.
But it seems like it's going towards it is his story now.
Yes, and I'm actually really excited for that.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
to-
Like that ending was like, okay, we're gonna get back to like just adventures around the galaxy.
Yeah, which I don't know. Maybe they had this idea of like a 2-season arc of this, right?
Yeah.
Because this has really been 2 seasons. It feels like forever, but it's just been the 2 seasons, right?
3.
I mean, we're on. This is the end of 3.
No, but like when does Bo-Katan show up?
Oh, halfway
Last
through the
season.
second season.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like more or less like a 2-season. Like
got 2
you really
arcs.
don't have
Right.
the Mandalorian stuff. I mean, you have the
You do
the
because at the end of
the
season 1 is when he breaks the creed. So season 2 is like.
yeah,
well,
but
no,
it's
no.
It's not like about
Season 2 is when he
Mandalore,
breaks the
though.
creed because he.
Oh yeah. So
yeah, he
'cause in front of
exposes
the
his face,
droid,
but it's to IG.
IG-11.
That's season 1, right?
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
season-
last
end
episode
the
of
end of
season
season
yeah.
1.
Which that
Isn't
It
that
doesn't break the creed.
Cara
Yeah, he
Dune?
doesn't break the
Yeah,
creed.
it's not until the Bill Burr, the second Bill Burr episode, when he has
Where
to
he
take
breaks
it
the
off.
creed, yeah.
Oh, because he has to go undercover, right?
It's another person has to see your face. A living being needs to see your face.
Right.
I saw someone talking about who do you think spent more time on set in season 3, like Pedro Pascal or Gina Carano?
You know, I really do think Pedro Pascal did a lot of the stuff in this. Not necessarily like the kickbox fighting and all that, but like
I don't know.
Yeah,
would be shocked.
I'm very
especially
surprised.
how busy he was.
So, that's why I'm
that's
like,
true.
I'm not
That's
surprised if he wasn't on set very much. But what I was going to say is I was very surprised they never showed his face in this season, which I don't know. I was just very surprised, especially with all the news that came out of from like before season 2 came out. How
Yeah.
people were like, he's pissed because he wants to show his face more.
Yeah.
And like he's gonna walk away from this character and quit because
I feel
he's
like
not.
the stories have always been around.
Oh, I know, but like
and that's
you-
very like generic movie
Yeah.
starry kind of
right,
like, you know.
and it's also people like trying to get clicks on their articles.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
there's no probably no truth
Because like I
behind
just
it,
I
but-
just saw like the other day scrolling through the news another one of those where it's like Pedro Pascal is rumored to be feuding with Disney.
yeah.
look,
It's like
So I mentioned it
Doubt
in
it.
my intro, but I like there were parts where was it the finale where it was the thing I was talking about of how they're like, well, he can become a Mandalorian with parental consent, but where's his parents? Well, I guess they'll just adopt him. Like what? Like I've never seen a bigger waste of like time in a show or movie.
they
It'd just
didn't
be like,
I'm pretty sure he's supposed to wear a helmet too at that point.
like here's a rule I just made
I
up.
don't think he's not old enough for a helmet.
yeah, but he's. I mean, when it goes to
you
synonymous
half
with he's not
expect
old.
someone just to be like
old enough to
shout
take
out the
creed.
old chestnut of it's our most ancient law.
Right.
Look, am I wrong to say that the Mandalorian is not Pedro Pascal? It's actually Grogu.
It's become that, I feel.
Well, I'm wondering if that was the
this
intention.
This season was very Mando heavy and very light on the Grogu.
Because season 2 was Grogu.
Yeah,
100%,
season 2
yeah.
was a lot of Grogu. Yeah.
I'll say this: I was very happy Luke Skywalker did not show up, and by Luke Skywalker, I just mean any CGI person.
Yeah.
Right,
So
yeah.
the big thing that I had out of this
or
season,
a really big cameo. In
yeah,
general.
we didn't have any big cameos, like classic cameos.
I love that.
Like
I
Boba
love
Fett.
that.
it
We've
never
only really
shows up.
have. Well, I guess you have Boba Fett, and then you have Luke, but that's really it, though. I guess
So
Ahsoka,
far, yeah.
Ahsoka, and then you
Ahsoka,
have the sniper.
Yeah.
Oh God, what's her name?
Oh,
Fennec.
God. Fennec
Fennec
Sand.
Shan. Yeah,
But is she in the other stuff?
she's in Boba
She's in
Fett.
Boba Fett.
And she was also in Mando a couple of times.
Yeah.
A couple
Oh,
times. Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah, that's not.
that's not a big cameo.
Actually,
Yeah, that-
did we have the mechanic? What's her face?
Yeah, first episode.
Amy
First
Sedaris.
episode. Yep. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, she was in their first episode. That's it.
Then I think that's it. Yeah.
That's okay. You know what? I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with
like
that.
I said, this season relied heavily on the rise of Mandalore. And you
As it
didn't
should.
need
As it should.
You didn't need any of those cameos. Like it wasn't I mean like the biggest person I guess that came back is Taika Waititi as IG-11.
to say yes and
And
Oh
now-
yeah. Well,
but-
then Giancarlo Esposito too.
But
is,
he was
he was in
already
the second one. Yeah.
He was
I mean,
in
he's
the
in the
first
cast.
one too. He's
Yeah, you're right.
very
he is
end
part
of
of the
first.
cast.
Yeah.
But like Taika Waititi coming back as IG-11 / IG-12 because at the end he actually talks.
Like I think a nice bookend. Do I want to see that like him again? Yeah, I could go without. I could be fine.
IG-12, IG
11.
12. It's 12 now.
12. It would be 12. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess part of it too is there was I feel like a lot of the Mandalore stuff is just kind of underbaked and like I don't really understand who the Mandalore who they really are and like what their
You need to watch
stance is.
Clone Wars.
I know, but
Remember-
he's right though. He's
Yeah.
not.
No.
It's not for. Like it's not for if they left it in such a way where you may not be interested. You're older. You're probably not going to go back and watch Clone Wars.
But I also
However-
like in my mind I have an explanation for who the Mandalorians are and it's like a different one even though it was from Star Wars branded merchandise,
yeah, I guess. But like, I think it's more, if you're a younger kid probably who's loving this, and you're like Mandalore came up, and then they ask where's, what's going on with Mandalore. You could refer to 30 episodes in the Clone Wars and just watch that, which is also on Disney Plus.
Right.
I
But
think
it's also
that's
Dave Filoni, who is one of the technically one of the showrunners.
They built the show out
So-
enough where you know enough about Mandalore and the people. They're a fighting breed.
Yeah.
And they operate off of this
I'm
holistic
sure it's
creed.
explained.
No, but that's what you
But
get
there's
at
not-
face value. That's what you get as face value after watching.
But
the
does
C3
even
season
any of the
Mandalore.
but Marvel never does anything like that. Where it's like, oh well, it was in the show. Like they're never
No,
like,
but-
oh, you had to go
None of-
watch
none
Agents
of-
of Shield to understand the
No,
movie.
but okay,
None of the
so-
stuff in Mandalorian, I'm telling you, you need to go back and watch the show.
No.
To understand this, you don't. None of it.
But I don't understand why I cared about the man. Like who were like, you don't really like understand. Like
You
I don't
sh-
even understand like what their alignment is.
It's a Star Wars bounty hunter. That's the whole first season and part of the second season. And it just so happens.
No, he's talking about not like what. All right, so he doesn't understand why he should care about the Mandalores, like the Mandalorians.
well, I don't even like what's their
Well,
deal.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, the planet's purged.
they're a race
Right.
of
And,
people.
and
Sure.
they're almost extinct.
The
And
yeah.
that's pretty much where, I mean, that's explained in the
yeah.
whole thing.
Think about it. Like the Empire saw them as a threat, attacked them,
Okay.
the planet, and it's brought up in the show. Then when they were basically defeated, but before they were actually defeated, Bo-Katan, who was their leader, surrendered, and so to save her people. So in return, the Empire glassed the planet,
Right.
which she
Yeah.
says all that in this show. She explains it all.
Look, holistically, it's a planet that was opposing the Empire.
Yeah.
And the Empire laid waste to them and tried to make them extinct.
Right.
And
They
that's-
they
and
saw
that's-
them as a threat and
And
extinguished
when
them.
you look at it, Star Wars, I mean, Star Wars is literally all about like siding with the underdogs. In this case, you have a people that were essentially destroyed because they were against the Empire. That's literally over 4, 5, and 6. Episode 4, 5, and 6. So I think that's what they were trying to make that connection with. Nothing about this show is saying, in order to get this, you need to watch
Right.
XYZ.
Right.
None of it.
I mean, if you want to learn more, watch the Clone Wars.
If you want the Starship Troopers reference, do you want to know more?
Oh yeah, yeah. But like that, like if you want to expand your knowledge on what Mandalore is, watch the Clone Wars. They go into more detail and more backstory on the planet and whatnot.
Yeah.
But this
I mean,
show
I've
gives
been
you
to
what-
Mandalore.
Oh, okay.
I was in Mandalore and Knights of the Old Republic too. So
That was that Mandal? That wasn't Mandalore.
Wasn't
yeah,
it
you
the
went. You got
moon
to. You
of
got to.
Mandalore?
Yeah, that was the
Okay,
moon.
all right. Huge difference.
There is.
There is.
There is.
You have Death Watch on one of the moons.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's how Din Djarin's clan survived.
That you need to know from the Clone Wars.
Right.
You have to
Well,
watch
but
the Clone
they
Wars to
say that.
understand
They not that Death Watch, but they say, "Oh, how did you survive?" And they were like, "Oh, we were on one
We
of the
were on one
moons
of the
during the
moons."
Purge of Mandalore."
Well,
That's literally a line from the show.
yeah.
It's
Like you said before we started, like really getting into this episode or the finale, you kind of had to pay attention. They do say a lot.
right. There was
and-
a lot of info
yeah.
dump at this last
There's a
Yeah.
lot.
last bit.
No,
I don't know if that's
last,
good
like, 2 or 3.
storytelling, but
But you understand more of Mandalore and its people because like the
I don't
interactions.
know. I don't think you
between
ever
the two
really get a
clans.
good. I don't think you ever really get enough that like you really are invested or care.
I don't necessarily think you have to be. I think it's
I think you
have
do. It's the crux of the series.
well this one, yes, but
I mean,
like you're just I don't know. It could be different.
mean-
It could be different because we're coming from a
I'm not
perspective. we know all
saying
this.
it's like totally absent. I'm just saying they're not doing it well enough.
So, I'm sort of with you, John. I can see where you're coming from. But like at the same time, I'm also thinking like all 3 seasons have been about the Mandalorians and their culture. That's kind of been the whole deal of the show. But I will back you up. It's like it also is at times underbaked.
Yeah, I mean,
Because like you have the first season and a half about Din Djarin's Mandalorians that he knows and their way and blah 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 blah. You get all that.
It's like literally
And then-
all they talk about
yeah.
is the way.
And then once Bo-Katan shows up, it's like, oh no, that's not actually how
right?
we are.
That's not Mandalore.
Right.
That's your crazy
I,
cult.
Exactly.
I would say that's the underbaked part.
Yeah, that could have been
Yeah.
way more interesting
Right.
for me.
That-
Because they
that
really
sort of
just
culture clash
Right.
is the
That-
underbaked part. But I
that
wouldn't say
underbaked part, which is why we would never bring it up, is heavily explored in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, so the underbaked part, you're right, and I think reflecting back on maybe a few episodes ago, it's like when they were riding the boat or whatever
Yeah.
it was, it's like they'll fight, they'll never get along. Mm-hmm. You know, I think that was the underbaked part.
Yeah.
because it wasn't looking at this. I know why they won't get along,
Right.
But at face value,
Yeah.
they're not going to know.
Right.
it's like they really there's this like hats versus no hats kind of really conflict.
yeah, exactly.
Like that conflict is the underbaked part. But I would disagree in that like we don't learn anything about the Mandalorians.
No, it's not nothing, but I've just and look, I didn't like the show as much when it went big in the direction of the Luke Jedi. Although I guess that was really just Book of Boba Fett, but the Luke Jedi Force angle, I kind of
For that like one
didn't
episode.
like either. Yeah, well, of the Book of Boba Fett, and yeah.
Well, there's that like one episode of Book of Boba Fett where like with Grogu learning the Force and like, nah, I'm gonna be a Mandalore instead.
Yeah.
That was just,
What
like,
did
one
what did you guys think about?
Well, there's other things like the Carl Weathers planet. It's just like, oh, it's Navarro. You know, Navarroans. Like I don't know. You don't really know anything about that planet
About
or
Navarro?
like why, even though they're there like all
Yeah,
the
they
time.
spend a lot of time at that planet in those
like-
3 seasons.
Yeah.
Well, it was a mining planet,
Right.
right? But it was also
I mean,
home of the.
What do you
the
really
hell is that
need to
monster
know?
beast?
Right. Like in this season, you get some more backstory on Navarro and Carl Weathers' character, where like he dealt with pirates and to like get this planet's independence and like
Oh yeah, they threw out. Yeah, it's not a bar anymore; it's a school or whatever.
because like he's actually trying to, develop the planet or the city that they're in, and the
Yeah.
pirates are like a little pissed, but then the pirates are connected to the Empire.
I think the show needs to get back to its roots of like literally anytime Baby Yoda was in Carl Weathers' office, that was a good scene. Like him spinning in the chair, him getting in the IG-11 or 12 or whatever.
Oh, it was 11 at the time.
Suit. Yeah, that was great. More of that.
Do you guys,
Adventures of the week, though. If
do
we
you
get
guys-
back to that,
do you guys want to hear my hot take?
Okay.
I think the more I think about this, the more I'm like, I think this was better than season 2.
This season,
Yeah,
I think I like this more than season 2.
because like
Yeah,
I
that's a
went
tough
back
one.
because I
That's a
was like,
tough one.
okay, where does this fit in? I'm like, season 1 was probably better.
Oh yeah.
And then I thought about season 2, and for the life of me, I can barely remember what happened in that.
Did season 2 have the frog lady?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the spider episode, which
Yes.
is the only like episode I could remember other
Yeah.
than the finale.
yeah, but see,
Well, you
yeah,
got the
season 2
Bo-Katan
is
part.
Was
Yeah.
that
Bo-Katan
season
is
1 or season 2?
Season 2
I
was
don't-
Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan is
Okay.
introduced.
But then like the finale of season 2 was pretty cool with Luke showing up.
Yeah.
Granted, it
Well,
was
then
you
you
weird,
had-
don't you have
but-
the Marshal
Yeah, the
in
Marshal.
season 2?
That was the first episode.
Yeah, that was like I want to see more.
I feel
of
like
that.
we're missing
I
like
loved him as the Marshal.
6 episodes though, and it was like I'm like I don't.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
that's this whole show. Is like I barely remember any of the episodes.
I do feel like it was 2 was a dip, but I definitely feel like this season wrapped up seasons 1 and 2, like everything that's happened. Like it wrapped everything up, like you said, Sam. This was like their pitch.
Yeah,
like
this was the end
This
of the
was our
pitch.
show, and then now it's like, all right, now we can move on to the next phase of our
Adventure
plan.
of the week would be.
It sounds
fantastic.
like that's the route that they're gonna go, and the training of Grogu, which
Look,
I have
could
to
we-
ask really quick on Grogu. Did anybody expect Grogu to speak?
I thought he was going to.
I had like an inkling that he was
for
going
a
to.
second there at the end where she was
Yeah.
like, he's not old enough to speak. I was like, oh, is he gonna be like, this is the way, the way this is?
Fuck.
No,
Never
it-
talk.
would it be?
He
Yeah,
can
I
never
was,
be allowed.
I was
to
gonna
talk.
say, would it be ruined
no,
if he did
he
talk?
can never talk.
Yes, it would be ruined.
Yeah, probably.
The fact
right?
that he
Never
speaks in like
talk.
coups and stuff like that is fine. Because
Yeah.
like my thing is, all right, so we've heard people of that species talk just 2 characters, which is Yoda. You never hear Yaddle talk, although you do hear Yaddle talk in
What is it? The Jedi one?
Yeah, the one the cartoon,
Yeah,
which
'cause
is Dallas Bryce Howard.
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Or Bryce
does,
Dallas Howard is the voice of
How
Yaddle.
does she go
normal?
like-
She speaks
okay,
normal. But then
damn.
you have the guy from KOTOR.
and he speaks,
And
in
he
the way-
speaks
He
like
speaks
Yoda.
like- yeah, like Frank Oz, like a bad Frank Oz
Yeah,
impression.
it sounds like a Yoda impression. And
KOTOR
so-
doesn't matter. KOTOR's got blown up in the, I felt a 1,000 voices suddenly cry out, and that was the
silence.
extended universe. Just
Yeah, no, but KOTOR is still considered canon.
Yeah, because like Revan is still
Yeah,
canon.
Revan is very much canon.
is he? Is he talked
Yeah.
about on the shows?
No, but it's so you know how like they're like this is canon, this is not anymore. KOTOR is part of the canon
like-
that they
Okay.
Was it
just like the
like
Star Wars Holiday Special is technically canon.
And wasn't like
Yeah.
one of like that like big stadium at the end of Rise of Skywalker where they had all those Sith
Oh Jesus!
things?
Oh yes, yes.
Wasn't one of them like the followers of Revan?
of
or
Revan?
something?
Yeah, that's how it's considered canon. I
So-
forgot about that.
Nice.
Good
Can I-
call
can I-
for reminding me of a movie I forgot a lot about.
Okay, spinning back to
I have
Mandalorian
no
here.
I'm thinking back and I'm like, what the fuck was the deal with all of those things? Like,
Sam,
what was that
Sam,
thing?
don't worry about it. Somehow Palpatine has returned. That's all you
Can
have to worry
we
about.
swing back to good
All
stuff
right,
instead
all right,
of
good stuff.
that movie? Okay, so for next season,
Yes.
do you guys like? And I'll ask the question and I'll tell you what I like about it. Do you guys like Grogu keeping his Force powers at this level, or do you want him to progress to like Jedi? So, for example, let me continue. Just say this real quick. I really like the fact that he did not go all force power in this past episode. Like he's hopping back and forth, he's moving a couple things around,
Like he
but
did
he's
lightsaber
not like,
fight with the
but he's
the
not
guards.
like he's not like full. These are not full powers.
Yeah, well,
these
I
are
think it
kind of
just
like little tidbits of his abilities.
I think it becomes less interesting if he's really powerful.
Right. That's where I'm looking.
Yeah.
So next season, do you guys like him having like kind of this like supplement to his abilities, or do you want him to go full Jedi?
I want him to go full Jedi.
I just want him to wear the helmet and have the ears go boop out each side.
Do you think
I
it'd be
think-
solid?
Yeah,
It would probably be
give
solid,
him,
right?
Yeah, I would give him solid ears.
No, I just think they just pop
No,
out.
they can't because it's a controlled helmet. However, I shouldn't say once. If Grogu ever gets the helmet, this show is never going to be the same. It's not going to be as good because his face will be hidden.
His face will be hidden. Yeah,
It won't be the same.
But this is the way I shot.
it's nailed it, Sam. Nailed it.
And you get to see the Mythosaur is very much alive.
Yeah, and
It's
without
just trying to take a nap, man.
Well,
And
with
they
it-
keep waking it
That
up.
very weird shot where it was like somebody took like a GoPro on a drone through the waters and like some.
what else?
I know,
what
no,
else
it was
you
just
do?
it was like an oddly shot.
The Mythosaur's
scene.
reaction was very much like we just woke it up from a nap.
Yeah,
Well,
like,
without
huh?
the
Come
without the dark saber, she needs
Right.
a little bit of something
Right.
extra.
But I don't think I think we're for the most part done with Mandalore. He'll come back.
I think so too, right?
Yeah,
I'm getting a sense that we're kind of moving on.
Yeah, I feel like that arc is done. We're definitely coming back at times.
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff.
Just like how he goes back to Tatooine every so often.
Do you think what's it? Gideon is dead?
Oh yeah. I think Thrawn is going to be the
Yeah, I think going forward, Thrawn is going
because
to be the big bad.
Ahsoka will be Thrawn, right? And I would not be surprised if Mando eventually shows up,
in Ahsoka.
helping the New Republic kind of get involved with that.
I'm very disappointed in the casting of Thrawn.
Why are you disappointed?
Well, because they got who was it?
The same guy who does
Nicholson,
the voice.
Yeah, the guy who does the voice.
Lars Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
Yeah, no name.
No.
Give me someone good.
So you don't want the guy who has portrayed him for
No.
like
No,
years?
no, because it could be literally no. You know who that honestly should be like Benedict Cumberbatch is Thrawn.
No.
Yes. As somebody who has read Heir to the Empire, I fucking outrank you on this one. It should be Benedict Cumberbatch.
Have you read Heir to the Empire?
Does he look?
I
Let
have
me ask
not.
you. In Rebels, does he look at art a lot and try to interpret cultures?
Is Heirs
and
to the
and
Empire
find their
considered
weakness?
canon?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of fucking Coruscant? Because it came from that. And next time Luke drinks chocolate, fucking remember Heir to the Empire. Because you know why? Lando gave it to him.
I'm actually gonna look up Heir to the Empire.
Jesus. That's so...
John dropping bombs.
I know,
over
right?
here.
Yeah.
He's watching too many Michael Jordan movies, just dunking on everybody. All right, so season 3 Mando. I mean, sounds like 75% of us are.
No, I'm
You know-
no. Actually, I'm very interested to see where it goes. I just hope this part's done.
Okay.
It definitely looks like it's done.
Like no, if it's him tracking down the Imperial Remnant, we're back on board.
Yeah.
Does anybody know if there's an art book of the story, you know, at the end of the
storyboards?
episode,
How they have all
the
those
storyboards? I would love
Oh, yeah, those
one
are
of
always
those.
cool.
Those pictures are awesome.
Yeah.
I'd love one of
Like
those.
I always just sit through them. Like I don't.
right?
just
I sit through
immediately-
them too. I just want to see kind
They're
of
just cool pictures.
Yeah. And it's not like exactly what's shown too. Like
No,
you
but
could
like
tell
you
they
could
had
s-
an idea, but
You
then
can see where
visually
the idea is
you get
and
something
stuff.
different. So, but Mando season 3 wrapped up. We'll probably see it again in another year and a half.
By the way, John, Heir to the Empire is not canon.
It mentioned Coruscant before any
Hey,
movie.
he's just
so.
he read a Star Wars book. Just
Oh wait,
that not
wait,
many
you
of
mean-
them have.
You mean the cloned Jedi, who's the cloned Luke Skywalker Jedi?
Oh, yeah.
Spoiler alert! You're telling me that's not canon?
All right.
Oh yeah, he had a stupid name too, didn't he?
Yeah, it's like Luke with 2 U's. or something like
it's
that.
so dumb. Luke.
And Jorah Seabath, the other Jedi who we never talk about.
Before this gets really out of hand. All right. So
Anyways.
anything else?
No.
Fine.
No.
It's
All right.
Dreadnoughts.
So stay tuned for next week's episode. We'll see what we have. If you like all the other episodes and you want to find some more stuff in discussion, and particularly con classics, always check those out. Knights of Nerditude. Facebook.com/Knights of Nerditude. You can also send us find us on YouTube and all the other streamers as well. That does it for us for this week. For next week.